Welcome, beautiful people. Welcome to Guide for Autism. In today's video, I'm going to explore a little bit more about ways a child with autism would like you to communicate with him or her. Before I go ahead, if you are new here and you have not subscribed to this channel, please do subscribe, because on this channel I share different content on how we can support our children from home without needing any support of speech therapists or any other therapists you may feel like you need. There are so many different things you can do from home that can make your life and your child life much more easier. So if you are much more interested and you want to learn more, please do subscribe so that you don't miss any content being posted here on every single week. So today's video, I'm going to explore about 5 ways a child with autism would like to be communicated. So tips number 1, children with autism prefer simple and direct communication. Long and complex sentence can be very overwhelming for them. Instead of saying, for example, that we need to hurry up, it's time to go for school, this sentence is very complex and it will make your child confused. Your child will start trying to put it together what you're trying to say. But if you make it simple and say time to go now, your child will know it's time to go now. And if you realize that your child have not moved from what you just said, you can repeat the same sentence to make sure that your child is communicating with your child. Most of the time, you may need to repeat what you want to communicate more than once, more than twice, to make sure that your child understands what you are trying to communicate to him or her. Tips number 2. Children with autism often respond well to visual communication. Visual support like pictures, chat, or written schedule can reinforce what you are saying and help them understand expectation. So for example, using a picture when your child is going to brush, that will help your child to understand clearly what you are trying to communicate with them. And also it will give a signal if you have already established a routine when your child need to brush, if it's a morning or evening or lunchtime. As soon as you show them the toothbrush picture and communicate as well time to brush, that it will aid the communication and your child will have a better understanding on what is going on. Visual cues can provide a clear communication and can help to reduce anxiety around your child, especially in a situation where verbal communication alone may not be enough. That aid your child to understand what is going on and what is happening around your child environment. Children with autism, sometimes they need those images to help them understand. So if this is something new to you and you are still trying to work around how to communicate with your child, I will encourage you to print out some images. It can be bedtime, pictures with bed, pictures maybe with food, pictures with the park, shopping, anything you want to communicate it to your child. You can produce those images so that when you are using verbal communication, you have also the images to show your child so that your child will have better understand and also will quickly understand what you are trying to communicate. Now, tips number 3, be patient and try to communicate with your child in a very slow pace. The best thing about parents raising children with autism, they know their children best, and they know how to approach them and they know how their children are like. So however, most of the time when you're communicating with your child, trying to give them extra time to process the information and making sure you don't urge them to respond, because this can create a little bit of pressure and frustration. So give them a space for them to think properly what you just said, and also don't give them pressure. Remember that communication is both way. you sending the message and you giving the other person to process what you just said to get a response. However, if you're not getting the response, it doesn't matter. You can still repeat the same question, but make sure that you showing your child that you're patient with your child and you are still waiting to hear from them. Try not to ask them question like, did you hear me? Or why aren't you not responding to my question? Or maybe if you say, oh, come on, I am still waiting for your response. All those kind of things gives them pressure. They will feel like you urging them, you are pressuring them. So trying to be much more calmer and show them that you're taking your time, and also inform them that I am here still waiting for your response. So the way you communicate, the voice tone, it's all matters when you're trying to communicate with your child, and everything works together. So remember, be patient, repeat, allow the time for your child to process the information and wait for the response from your child. Tips number 4, we need to respect non-verbal communication. As you all know, body language says a lot, either to adults and even to children. So it becomes even much more important to a child with autism, because especially if your child is non-verbal, this is something you really need to pay attention on, because all non-verbal communication are very important, same as verbal communication. For example, your child may use a gesture or facial expression or assertive devices to express themselves. So I will ask you to pay attention on these things, because your child may want to communicate something. For example, if your child is not talking but is pointing at a certain area where there is the toy, or maybe where there is the food, you can easily say, do you want the toy? Or you want the toy, so you quickly go and get the toy and give it to your child. Or if it's a snack or fruits, if your child is pointing to that side, make sure you get the fruits and see if that's what they want. And by doing that, if you're saying you want apple or you want orange, when you're doing that, your child is learning at the same time what those items you offering their names, and also you exploring much more on what your child want. If your child is not communicating, pay attention to non-verbal language, because they are the same as important as verbal communication. Tips number 5, very good one. I love this, because we need to be calm and positive and reassuring at the same time when you're communicating with your child. You don't want to be raising voice when you're speaking to your child. It's already confused enough because your child is not verbal communicating. So when you're raising a voice to your child, it makes everything much more complicated. So try to be more sensitive to the way you communicate to your child, because you don't know how your child going to take this. You don't know how your child feels. But I'm really sure that if you are communicating with your child in a very calm manner and positive, reassuring your child, that will make your child feel much more ease and safe to communicate with you, and also will make communication much more easier for your child to understand. For example, if you are speaking in a manner where you are frustrated or you are anxious, your child will pick up this kind of things, and which can make your child start feeling stressed out, and also building this anxiety. And this is not helpful for your child. As we already know, children learn most of the things from us. The way we speak, the way we communicate, how loud we are, how low we are. and our behavior, our body language, all those kind of things. Your child is picking them up every single day. Even if you're not communicating with your child, you may be communicating with your friends or neighbors or other people around in the house. Your child is observing you, and your child is reading the way you are communicating. So to summarize everything I've said, effective communication with a child with autism involves with keeping things simple, using visual communication, images, and being patient and respecting non-verbal cues, because they are all communication, same as verbal communication, and maintaining a calm and positive tone. By adapting these types of communication will help your child to communicate more and grow with so much confidence, and also it will make your world and your child world much more easier because you understand each other. So if you have not started communicating with your child in this type of styles, or if there is any communication style I've mentioned and you have not started communicating with your child in that kind of style, please just try and figure out how you can start to work with your child so that you can all enjoy life together. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next content.